don't know why this takes forever. Okay. It is now recording.
All right. Sorry, my computer's going a little slow. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Officer Training Conference Treasurer Edition. As everyone's coming in, I just want to make sure everyone's had a good week. How was everyone's week? You guys can drop it in the chat if you'd like. I can't see the chat, but I hope you all had an amazing week. To introduce ourselves, my name is Eden Andam. I was the IP Treasurer at Spring Valley High School, and I'm from Division 28 South.
Everyone, I'm the other presenter. My name is Taryn Kono. I'm from Division 28 West, and then I was the former treasurer at Centennial High School.
Just to remind you guys, as we're going on with our presentation, feel free to drop any questions or comments in the chat and let us know if anything goes wrong or if we're going too fast or anything like that.
All right, so now we have the first section is the overview. So we're just going to talk about your general duties and just some tips on how to do good at your job. All right, so now we have the first thing you're gonna do is general duty. So we're just gonna general overview. For weekly, the things you should be doing is going to club meetings and your board meetings. If you're unable to go to a couple meetings, then you should contact the rest of your board to let them know. Communication is really important between you guys. So make sure you're constantly keeping in touch with all your board members, your advisors. You tell them everything and make sure everything is clear, set in stone, not up in the air kind of. So make sure there's no questions about anything. Next, you should be recording all the financial transactions, whether that's in a Google Doc, a spreadsheet, an Excel sheet, a notebook. Just try to make sure everything is accounted for and that you try your best to stay organized. So that means keeping everything in the same place and making it easy to find, easy to just look at, and then if you need anything from there. And then lastly, for the weekly section, you should keep your club and Kiwanis advisor updated on your financial status. So you should be working closely with your club advisor, and you can send them weekly, monthly, or quarterly updates to your sponsor Kiwanis club, basically whatever works best for your club. Next, for monthly of your general duties, you should record any funds from projects or fundraisers. And then you also should be reporting your total to your club secretary so they can put that in the monthly report from the MRF. Again, communication is really important, so make sure you're telling them everything, make sure everything is crystal clear. And then you also should be collecting and sending dues from new members. So if you have new members coming in February or March, you still need to be sending those dues in and kind of encouraging them to pay their dues. Even though it's past the regular time you send in dues, you can still send them in. You can send them in multiple times. And then whenever you get new dues paid members, you need to be updating the membership update center, the MUC. We'll be talking about that in a second. But yeah, whenever you get new members, make sure you work with your advisor and your secretary, especially to get the new members registered in there. And then lastly, you need to be consistently planning and trying to come up with fundraising ideas. So that's researching and looking stuff up online and seeing what other clubs are doing. You don't need to have fundraisers every month. It's kind of a lot, but you should still be researching ideas and stuff like that. So when I was treasurer, I had a running Google Doc with a bunch of ideas for fundraisers, and every month I tried to update it with new stuff that I've seen. And then sometimes during the board meetings, our president would be okay, next meeting, make a couple slides and then present them. It was just kind of to ensure that I could sit down for an hour or two and research and fully research my ideas and brainstorm ideas for future fundraisers.
Okay, so moving on to some annual duties, you should ensure that your club has paid their dues and that those have been paid, received, and processed before the on-time dues deadline of December 1st, 2021. We will also be getting into that later, so don't worry just yet. Also, be sure to plan and execute as many fundraisers for our preferred charities throughout the school year as you can. I know online school is kind of rough, but we're going to provide you guys with some ideas and tips to get through the year. Next is arguably probably the most important aspect of being a treasurer, which is keeping track of the club treasury and budget for the upcoming term. We'll also be giving some tips on that moving forward. Next is to always remember you're an officer. You're a member before you're an officer. So being a member in good standing is really important, and that means you have paid your dues yourself and are meeting the 50-hour requirement. And this is like very, very important to remember throughout the year. This also includes attending events like division council meetings, also known as DCMs, regional training conference, known as RTC, officer training conference, which you guys are all at today, OTC, and district convention if you can. Also, don't worry if you don't know some of the terms we just went over. We will be going more in depth in our presentation, and we'll be taking questions throughout the entire day. Okay, so you might be wondering, how do I successfully budget and keep track of expenses within my club? Here are a few steps and tips that we have prepared for you guys. First is to set up a treasury before the school year starts. This could be on any method or medium you prefer. Most people use an Excel sheet or a Google spreadsheet. Basically, whatever works best for you and your club. This will be where you will record any transactions, spending, or income for the club. So as soon as money comes in and out, make sure you update your treasury and that you're staying on top of things. It is ideal that you not only do this daily, but whenever money comes in and out. It's probable that your IP treasurer will provide you with a copy of last term's spreadsheet if they do have one. But if not, don't worry, you can most definitely make one yourself. Just be sure to also share this spreadsheet that you're making with your new officer board and your club advisor so they can see what's going on. I know for my club personally, we had several spreadsheets we used throughout the year when we were in an in-person setting that included a treasury. So if you're looking for maybe like some things to include in your treasury, you could include a section for like a weekly balance where at the end of the week, you just record any financial updates. And then perhaps a main section that includes things like date, description, or purpose of transaction. Make sure you're covering the expenses, income, and balance at the end of whatever transaction is going on. In addition to this, you should make sure to keep records of any physical transactions or purchases for your club. This may mean getting receipts or going to your banker with bank statements, just to make this process way easier for yourself and to make it easier for you to update your treasury throughout the year. Moving on, you should also be having some sort of yearly budget. I would recommend you create one really early into the school year. You could even make one now. This could be on a Google document or like a Word document, anything that works for you. Just think of some things you know already occurred during the school year that will require some sort of financial planning. For example, regional training conference or RTC, you already know ahead of time that this does cost money and you might be buying things like shirts for your club or spirit gear. So now would be a really good time to decide like a tentative fundraising goal for your club and how much money you want to use for certain events. When coming up with a fundraiser goal, it would be best to use the division and district goals to guide you. Personally, I made a budget around summertime with my vice president of fundraising just to think about the upcoming school year and get a good, clear vision of what I wanted to do. That is the end of our general duty section, and I know that was probably a lot of information. So if anyone has any questions or anything they'd like us to go over again, please drop it in the chat. We have a lot of time today, so this is a really great opportunity to get any questions answered. And Taryn will let me know if there are any questions because I can't see the chat right now.
Give everyone a couple seconds. All right. Is everyone good? I can't see a lot of you, but if you guys think of any questions, just drop them in the chat. Oh, yeah. Is the treasury just a sheet to track all of the funds? Peter?
Yeah, basically it's all your it's basically the big section where you're going to keep all your financial records, any transactions that go on. Like for example, if someone pays their dues, you would put their name, put the description like dues payment, put how much money was given to you, and then any transactions that go on. And then at the end, the remaining balance that you have in your club. You'd probably have to work with your advisor and your banker at your school to figure out how much money you guys do have in your school account, though. I hope that helped.
How much money is usually spent in Fall Rally or RTC?
Can you repeat that?
Huh?
Oh, can you repeat the question?
How much money is usually spent in RTC or Fall Rally?
I'm not sure how much exactly, but there are fees for members to attend. For example, your club might charge or require a $50 fee to go to RTC. This may go into a shirt and then also the required RTC fee. So if you want to maybe fundraise to cover that shirt cost, maybe think like 20 something-ish dollars to fundraise for that. I'm not really sure how much Fall Rally costs exactly or how much it will cost this year, but it would be somewhere near the 120s or $100. So just think of a certain amount you'd like to fundraise and how many members you think you could cover in that sense, if that makes sense.
You have Fall Rally a little bit wrong.
Oh.
Hang on, I'm double checking
Okay.
because I haven't had you guys pay for it in a while. It's 140 per person to go to Fall Rally.
Yeah, so there's not like a set amount that you have to fundraise for, but you can decide that for yourself and whatever works best for your club. If you know you have 10 people attending, you might want to cover $40 or $50 if that works within your budget and your funds. Is that it?
Yeah. Does anyone else have any more questions? If you want, you could like raise your hand so like we know that you're typing and we don't move on without you. Is everyone good?
All right.
I think everyone's good.
Okay, we're going to be moving on to our next section.
So now we have our dues breakdown. So we're just gonna like talk about the break. We're just gonna talk about like explaining what dues are, where all the money goes, what the membership updates under the MEC is, what we mentioned earlier, what that is, and then all of the deadlines. All right, so now we have the basics of dues. So like dues are basically just like the membership fee for Key Club, kind of like an entrance fee. Next, you should be working with your club board to manage membership dues. So like especially with your advisor and your secretary, since they're the ones that like help you out the most to register all the new members in there. You also should be collecting and recording dues for all paid members. So you should have it like easily accessible with like a list of everyone who's paid all their dues. All right, so the next one is, this one's really important. You should focus on recruiting members all year. So like just make sure you aren't just like pushing only in the beginning of the year. You should be like trying to recruit more members the entire year. Like let them know that even if it's already the middle of the year, so if it's like second semester or like March or February or March, like make sure that they know that they're still welcome to join. You can join clubs not only in the beginning of the year, you can join the whole year. Make sure they feel welcome so like they don't feel like out of place. And then lastly, you should collaborate with your club advisor to register new members into the membership update center. Again, it's really important with the whole communication thing. It's vital for your club to thrive. You gotta make sure everything is crystal clear. All right. And then this is what the dues go to pay for. So each member must pay at least $11.50 for dues. Your club might make them a little more because it might include like a club shirt or something like that. Like I think at my club it was like 20. Oh, here. Could members still join later in the year? Yeah, they could. So if they join later and they can still pay because you can send in like multiple rounds of dues. It's all good. Oh yeah, they might make the dues a little more because it might include a club shirt. So I think at least at my school, my dues were like, when we were in person, it was like 20 or 25 because it included the shirt and then we wore that shirt to RTC.
There's a note here about dues. Not including t-shirt, your dues cannot exceed double. Your total dues can't exceed double of the $11.50. So if no shirt is included, you cannot have your dues more than $23 total.
Yeah, you can't make your dues double because you just can't. Okay, so out of the $11.50, $7 goes to like the international part of Key Club. So it covers your membership card and your pin. The pin is really cute. It's like a small little like gold pin of the Key Club logo. It also covers the administrative budget, and then the international officers and board members, so it covers expenses for all of them. And then lastly, it also covers the Youth Opportunities Fund. It's a really good fund, so basically, like, people can apply to get grants from the Youth Opportunities Fund. So if they need money for like a large-scale service project. So I think like the most grants that they give out is like $2,000. So they give out a lot. And then the other part is the 450, which goes to like the district part of Key Club. It goes for the administrative budget for them as well. So like the smaller district part. And then the district officers and board, so it kind of covers their expenses as well. The committee budget, and then for senior scholarships. So the senior scholarships, like, you should push that for all your like upcoming seniors so they can get some scholarships. All right, so now we have tips for dues. Again, you should promote membership all year round. Since you can send in multiple rounds of dues, you should be like promoting your members to pay their dues, to bring their friends to club. You can send in multiple rounds of dues. And then you should club rush all year. So you should, again, be pushing for new members all year. You can send out interest forms, put up like posters around your school. Again, you should do this all year. You can post on social media, have recruitment videos, promotion through like ASB, your student council if you don't have ASB, your school newsletter, or you could, if you have like a school like news video, they have that at my school. At least you can kind of like talk to the teacher who produces that and be like, hey, can you like put in a little section about Key Club? Again, social media is a really like good tool to use since almost everybody has social media. So, but outside of this list, like, there's way more that you can do to promote your membership for your club. And then membership also is renewed annually. So you have to pay every year. So if you have like returning members, you have to let them know you have to pay again. So if you paid like the previous year, you have to pay this year as well. It doesn't carry over. And then you also should educate your members on the importance of dues. So the dues are to benefit the members to make sure they have a good experience in Key Club. Yeah.
Okay, so next we're going to be talking about the Membership Update Center. So you might be wondering, what is the Membership Update Center? Well, to put it very simply, it is the center where we update the membership for the new term. It is basically Key Club International and Kiwanis International way of keeping track of membership information. It does things like keep track of your members and officers' contact information, and it also generates an invoice to pay dues. It's okay if you don't really understand what this means yet. But each club has their own account where they can log in and complete all information needed to have a successful term. We will be having a quick walkthrough through the Membership Update Center, so don't worry if this doesn't really make sense. Again, this is the location where you'll be registering new members, updating the club roster, and then processing the invoice to pay your dues. You will most probably be working very closely with your club advisor or club secretary to ensure this process is completed as smoothly as possible and before any important deadlines you wish to complete. It's also essential that you have a good understanding of how to use the Membership Update Center, which is referred to as the MUC, before you have your first dues payment. So that's going to be in a couple months, so you don't need to worry about it yet, but we're going to try and walk you guys through it a little bit. We have a video by the CNH district, which is basically called Navigating the Membership Update Center. I'm going to try and play it. If anything goes wrong, please let me know.
Hi everyone, this is District Treasurer Yana here, and I'll be going over how to navigate the Membership Update Center, or the MUC, which is used to pay membership dues every year.
Eden, mute your mic.
First, you can find the website by simply Googling Kiwanis Membership Update Center as I'm doing here.
Sorry.
Then we need to sign into your club account, which is usually your club advisor's account, so work with them to obtain the password. If you have a new advisor this term, they can make an account by clicking on this link. Otherwise, you can just click Submit, and you will be redirected to this page, and then click Submit again, and then click here. Great, so now you should see the homepage of your advisor's Kiwanis account. To see the MUC, you're going to click the second tab on the left column, and we're also going to be using these top tabs now, so when I say tabs, these are what I am referencing. Now this is the dashboard of your MUC. Make sure to update any of this information for the year. Then we're going to move on to the middle tab for members, and here you're going to see a list of all your members, which we also call the roster. Before you start, make sure you remove any graduated members by selecting everyone from the class of 2020 and deleting them off the roster. If you have any members that are not returning this year, make sure to individually select them and delete their names. Everyone on your roster should now be current members that transferred over from last year. To add new members, you can click on the bulk add members feature. You should have collected all the members' information with the Google form so you can input the sections more quickly. You can also use the add new member feature, but this is to add members one by one. As you can see, there are a lot more sections to fill out, so I recommend that you use the bulk add feature instead. After adding all the members, you're going to go back to the main members tab where you can find the roster of all members. You're going to click on the button that says roster complete, print invoice, and then you'll be able to see the total amount your club owes for dues. You can't see this in the video because I'm not actually paying dues for this club right now though. Now when you go back to the finances tab, you can choose to either pay by card or by check. If you are paying by check, make sure to print the invoice and mail both the check and invoice at least 2 weeks before the deadline. Even though I have gone over how to use the MUC, there is still so much more to paying dues, so make sure to check out the dues manual for more information. I have a few last reminders. First, the on-time and early bird deadline for the 2020 to 2021 term is December 1st. Second, please pay dues again if new members join after your first payment of dues. And last, make sure to contact me if you have any other questions, and my email is on the screen. Thank you for watching.
All right, I hope that played okay. To put it very briefly, in case the video was kind of laggy or anything, you will be logging in once you have your information from your advisor. And once you are in, you will firstly update any new officer board information. Then you're going to delete anyone who graduated. In the video, it said class of 2020, but for you, it would be class of 21 in this case, and anyone who isn't a returning member. Then you would use the bulk add option to add any new members for the term. Don't worry, this video is available on YouTube and we have linked it on this presentation, so be sure to watch it several times if necessary. We have also provided the link to the Membership Update Center, and again, you will be working with your advisor in completing this, and they will provide you with a lot of help along the way, so don't worry if you don't understand right now. And if you have any additional concerns that can't be answered by your club advisor, you should be asking your respective lieutenant governor. And I understand that was probably a lot of information, so it's 100% okay if you don't have the best understanding of the Membership Update Center just yet, but you should be working throughout the year so that sometime before it opens, you do have a good understanding so you can relax a bit just for now. Okay, so I'm going to be moving on to some more tips and help in case something goes wrong with your experience with the Membership Update Center. Starting off, you're probably going to want to send in your dues at least 2 weeks prior to the deadline or date you are aiming for. Again, your advisor has probably done this for a couple of years, so they know which date or week buffer period works best. But this will basically just act as a buffer period and provide you for enough time for your dues not only to be sent, but also received by the deadline you are aiming for. The district treasurer and the CNH cyber key will be your best resources when it comes to dues updates. So make sure that you check your emails often and that the cyber key is there to make sure your dues have been received and processed. Again, as stated in the video, always double check that all the club, officer, and advisor information is correct and updated before completing your club roster. If you're having any issues regarding things like resetting your passwords, always make sure to use your advisor's email address, never use your own information, and to contact Key Club International if it becomes necessary. Again, you can go ask your LTG for help before this, but we have provided the appropriate email and phone number to use when things regarding the MUC. Just keep in mind that Key Club International is in Eastern Standard Time, so try to be a little mindful when you're calling for any type of help. Okay, so here are some dates to look out for this upcoming term in relation to dues. Don't worry, this won't be the first time you see this or hear of them, so just keep them in mind, and this will be like a quick introduction to them. Okay, so firstly, we have September 4th, 2021. This is going to be when the Membership Update Center opens for the new term. So just make sure you have access to the MEC by this date by communicating with your club advisor beforehand. Secondly, we have October 1st, 2021. This is when dues payments are officially open, so you can start submitting your dues and working on them and updating the Membership Update Center as soon as possible for any dues you may have collected the month before, just so you can make any dues deadlines that we have. Speaking of which, the early bird dues deadline is November 1st, 2021. And as a reminder, your dues must be sent in and received by this date in order to be considered early bird. And every treasurer here should be striving to make the early bird dues deadline, so work closely with your advisor and officer board just to ensure that this can happen. Next, we have the on-time dues deadline of December 1st. If your dues are not sent in and received by this date, your club is considered delinquent until you've submitted your dues. So just try to avoid this situation by sending in at least your first round of dues 2 weeks prior to this date. Moving forward, we have February 1st, 2022. If you have not submitted your dues by this date, your club is considered suspended, and that is in red because it's not good, very bad. At this point, if your club has basically been revoked of the benefits and privileges of membership in Key Club International, and you're going to be considered suspended until your dues are paid. So please do not get to this point. Try to meet either the early bird or on-time dues deadline. This kind of sounds really scary when it comes to being like suspended or delinquent. Just make sure you're working with your officer board and advisor to ensure that those early bird and on-time deadlines are met, and you should basically be good to go. And that is the end of our dues section. And I know that was probably like a lot of information. We can go over anything again, or if you guys have like any questions or if anything was confusing. I can't see the chat, but Taryn will let me know if there are any like questions or concerns.
Yeah, someone said. So is the invoice just $11.50 for all the members? I guess the invoice on the MEC.
That's a great question. I actually don't know that because I have not submitted dues or printed the invoice before. But
It's $11.50 per student.
yes.
And on the invoice, there is an address. You need to send it to the P.O. box address because recent years they've lost them when you send them to the street address. The easiest way to pay your dues is to pay with a credit card. It gets all sent to International, and then International separates it to where it needs to go.
I hope that answers your question, whoever had it.
Someone said, how often when you update the MUC?
This kind of depends on your club and how you guys are doing dues. Let's just say you guys had 2 rounds of dues, one in October and then one in December. You should be updating it as new members come in at the end of the month. Monthly is probably the best way to go. But if you only plan on having 2 rounds of dues, you would probably only need to like officially update and print out your invoice after whatever deadline you're trying to meet or after the round of dues that you've completed. If that makes sense.
And then if you get new members later, make sure you update them as well. So if you get them like after you did your 2 rounds of dues, make sure you update it again.
It just depends how your club sets it up. We would recommend you keep it open all year and then have a certain like monthly or bi-monthly basis that you update the Membership Update Center. But work with your advisor, see what has worked for your club and what your club prefers to do.
All right. Next question. Is there a late fee clubs must pay if their dues are late?
So there's not a fee if your dues are late. However, if your club has been like inactive for a while, there is a fee to start up your new club and to submit your dues. But you're not going to get like fined for not turning them in by the on-time dues deadline. But don't think that makes it like okay. Like please submit them before the early bird or on-time dues deadline. You should be always striving for that. But you're not going to get fined for it. Yeah.
All right. I think I remember having to go to Green Valley for dues. I think the Green.
Nope. No Green Valley for dues. Don't write them to Green Valley, please.
Yeah, don't write them to Green Valley.
You were probably taking your RTC check or some other sort of check to me, but it is not dues.
I think that probably was for RTC because RTC is at Green Valley. All right. Does anyone else have any more questions? Or do you want us to like go back to slides so you can like look at them again? Want us to explain something again? Is everyone all good? I'll give you guys a couple more seconds.
Is everything good?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the end of our due section. We'll be moving on to fundraising.
I'm just gonna go over some tips, why you should fundraise our preferred charities, stuff like that. All right, so now we have our steps to fundraising. So the first one is you should just be like brainstorming ideas that work best for your like situation in your area. It should be pretty convenient for you guys to get there. So you shouldn't pick somewhere that's like 25 minutes drive away from your school. Since like schools by like location, you should pick somewhere pretty close. The second one is to plan. So you should set a date, a location, and a time that's most convenient for the participants. And then if necessary, you should plan a budget. You don't want to be spending more money on the fundraiser than you're getting. So it's like if you were doing that, you would be losing money. So you want to make sure your like revenue is higher than like what you spent to do that fundraiser. And then make sure everything is like set in stone. Like make sure there's no confusion between like who you're running your fundraiser through and like what the time is. Make sure everything is good to go. It's better to like ask more questions than you need than to not ask enough, because then you don't want to like get lost in translation and all confused later on. 3 is to take action. You should complete all the necessary steps in order for your fundraiser to happen. So you should be like submitting forms and contacting all the necessary people you need to. So like at least at my school, you have to submit like a fundraising form to the office, and then they have to like approve it. So make sure you send it in early. I would suggest, well, it depends on your school. It depends on like fast they can get through it, but like at least 2 weeks, like at least, because you don't want them to not get to it in time and then them not approve it. And then if they don't approve it, you can't do it. And then you should be contacting all the necessary people. So that's like if you're having like a restaurant fundraiser, if you're having like a fundraiser like a boba shop, then you have to like make sure you're contacting whoever the manager, the owner is of that place, so they know what's going on. 4 is to promote. So you should be publicizing your event, which is really necessary to have like a successful fundraiser. You should be using like multiple platforms to advertise your fundraiser, and then you should be telling people like where the funds are going. You don't want people to just be like going to your fundraiser and like not knowing where their money is going. To advertise your fundraiser, you could use social media. You could like put up posters, hand out flyers. You could like make a video, your school newsletter, on your like school news if you have that. So make sure you're like advertising your event, because if people aren't going to it, then you're going to be like losing out money. You don't want to put in more money than you make. And then 5 is you should submit. It's really important that you submit your funds like as soon as you can to like prevent any loss of funds. You don't want stuff to like get lost or for you to like not get all the money you're supposed to be getting. So make sure you're like collecting and submitting your funds as soon as possible. And then now we have reasons to fundraise. So you should fundraise to raise money for our preferred charities, which we're going to talk about in a second. And there's 4 of them. And then to minimize costs to go to events for your members. So like, for example, Decon, RTC, Fall Rally. So like if you want to lower the cost, because there is a set cost, and if you have like a bunch of people going, sometimes it can be kind of expensive. So you can fundraise so they don't have to pay as much. And then to lower the cost of membership dues for your members. So if you want to like raise money so they don't have to pay like the full $11.50, maybe they only have to pay like $9 or $10. That would be really nice. So you would have to have a fundraiser like in the beginning of the year. And then you also should raise money for in-club events. So if you want to have like an end of the year celebration or some like reward for like hitting a benchmark for something that you made, you could also fundraise for that. All right, and now we have our preferred charities. Our first one is PTP. It's Pediatric Trauma Program. It focuses on reducing the number of children that are killed or injured by preventable traumas. So yeah, if you want to like do fundraisers for these preferred charities, that's really nice. I think at my club, when I was treasurer, we did like a coin drive for PTP. So like we like collaborated with a bunch of the other clubs at our school. I think like 5 or 6. And then we made these like boxes, and then every day, or people would put coins in the boxes, and then at the end of every day, we would like collect all the boxes, count up all the money, make sure it's organized. And then I think it was about 2 weeks long. We like collect all the money and then donate it all to PTP. All right, and then the next one is March of Dimes, which raises awareness about premature births and preventing them. The next one is UNICEF, which strives to promote the rights and well-being of every child. And then we have Children's Miracle Network, which raises money to help hospitals purchase necessary equipment and conduct research. And they also provide healthcare for children's parents who can't afford medical bills. And then I think for Children's Miracle Network, they also have Dance Marathon. That was really fun. And then like Key Club also has like things they also promote for these charities. So like there's Eliminate Week for UNICEF. There's PTP Week, I think in October. And then in February they have Children's Miracle Network, like IHOP, like Pancake Day. So you like go to IHOP and then like you pay your bill, and then a part of your bill gets like donated to Children's Miracle Network.
And as a reminder, these are just the preferred charities that like CNH has. You are not limited to these charities, but it would be nice to focus on these when you're having fundraisers. There's a really clear focus on PTP and CNH. We have like district and division goals. So also be mindful of that as you go on through the year. Okay, so before we give you guys some ideas or tips to fundraisers, we want to make some guidelines and some reminders like really clear when it comes to fundraising. And to preface, this doesn't include any school rules your school may have. So always ask and get familiar with what's going on within your school, whether this is an activities director or using your advisor as a medium to get that information before you plan a fundraiser, of course. But starting off, raffles and drawings are not permitted unless organized by a Kiwanis Club. For those who don't know what a Kiwanis Club is, to put it like very simply, they're kind of an adult version of Key Club, and most clubs do have a sponsor in Kiwanis Club. So if you did want to have some sort of raffle or drawing fundraiser, you would have to work with them and have them organize it. But in that case, if not, you would not do that yourself. And any game of chance regarding the use of money is considered gambling and is illegal, so don't consider it for a fundraiser. If you're hosting a movie night, which a lot of people do as a social / fundraising event, you cannot charge for admission as you do not own the rights to the movie you're playing. However, you can charge for things like concessions, food, drinks, etc., just not the admission. We also recommend that you avoid some of these terms when promoting and while fundraising. These terms are buy, sell, and merchandise. This is mainly because these terms are associated with sales tax, and since we are in high school and we are in a club as Key Clubbers, we're basically asking for a donation in exchange for a gift. It's not really like a buy and sell situation, if that makes sense. So try to avoid using these words when promoting and while fundraising. And also, don't forget to specify the amount of money being donated. For example, if you're having a boba fundraiser and 20% of the total funds will go to PTP, just let everyone know. And as a reminder, anyone is technically able to opt out of donating, though this usually won't be the case, as your members will probably know and be happy to donate to PTP or whichever preferred charity you have. Okay, so we're going to be starting off with some quarantine-friendly fundraisers. First, we have a food fundraiser in the form of like working with a food chain. You can work with places like local boba shops or restaurants like Chipotle, Panda Express, or Krispy Kreme. Towards the end of this term, there's been a lot of new fundraising options for many food chains where your fundraiser or club will just receive a promo code, and whenever your members order online, they use the promo code and it's all processed online, and then orders are of course like shipped to their homes whenever they do order the food. So if your club advisor and school rules do allow, reach out to lots of organizations to see where would be best for you and your club. Next is an item fundraiser. This is basically where an item is being given again for a donation, not buying and selling. This can include things like customized stickers. I'm sure you guys have seen a few collabs between divisions, which has been really cute this past term. Things like spirit gear, pins, buttons, lanyards, lays, fanny packs, etc. There's a lot of stuff you could do. You could have online payments. This could be maybe through a school web store or website or any approved medium that your school has, like PayPal or Venmo. Again, only if it's allowed and accepted. And then this would be shipped to your members, so it's completely contact-free. Lastly is to have some sort of online games or game nights. You guys have probably seen a couple bingo games on Instagram stories at least once this past term, where, for example, like for every $5 of donations, the club board will do a dare, like the club president will like drink some hot sauce or something. These dares do keep a really fun environment when it comes to fundraising, and it's also like a slight incentive when it comes to members donating. Another example for online games could be a karaoke night or a game tournament of sorts, where you could either charge for admission or just accept donations throughout the event. So in the case that you don't charge for admission, throughout the night, you could just remind everyone what the event is for and how much they should be donating, or not how much they should be donating, but who they are donating to, and just accept donations throughout the event and throughout the night. And also be sure to use a platform that everyone can participate in. I'm 99% sure schools only allow things like Google Meets, so make sure you understand how this works and how to utilize it to your best ability. And if we do continue online and have like quarantine fundraisers and all that kind of stuff, I know there's a lot of limitations to your position as treasurer. However, there's like still a lot of stuff you can do this term. Always see if you can work around any issues. You guys are all very smart people here, and you could do things like collaborate with your sponsor in Kiwanis Club, have a Kiwanis takeover, or like a joint fundraiser, for example. So just try to think outside of the box the best you can and communicate your ideas well. Make sure you're heard and that you can have your ideas implemented. So we're going to be moving on to some in-person fundraisers you could have. Again, working with food chains or having item fundraisers will be very similar to how it works online. You're going to organize a date, location, and time, communicate with the organizer, and then maybe have like a flyer for your members to show so the donations can come back to your club and be donated to whichever charity you prefer. Next would be something like donation cans. At my school, we have this thing called Happy Sad Change, and you could consider implementing it in your club at your club meetings in case you don't have it already. To explain it, it's basically an activity where members can drop their spare change into a jar during club meetings. They'll talk about their day and why they're either happy or sad. And then you can donate the Happy Sad change to a preferred charity at the end of the year. And every meeting when this occurs, you should be reminding your members where the money is going to, so they might feel a bit more inclined to donate, and so that they know it's an ongoing fundraiser throughout the year. Another idea to consider would be an ice or roller skating fundraiser. This could also work as a social event at the same time. You can partner up with a local skating rink to reach some sort of deal or percentage that you can earn for your preferred charity, so you can donate some of the profit, and it's also a great opportunity to bond with your club. Similarly, another idea is a movie night, which also simultaneously works as a social event. Again, as a reminder, you cannot charge for admissions, but you can charge for concessions, drinks, snacks, or whatever you may have providing to your members, and then donate that money. So this is going to be some other fundraising ideas for in-person. For another food fundraiser option, you could have some sort of on-site exchange of food for donations, like having a snack shop or like a snack shack at your school, or like having holiday grams to earn some money. You would have to make sure you follow like all your school rules and work with your advisor to set this up before planning, of course. Second is to use Polaroids. this is kind of interesting. You could have your historian take photos of members using a Polaroid or some sort of disposable camera of sorts and provide these Polaroids for donations. So let's say your members are at a service event and they want to request to take a photo. Your historian would take the photo and then provide it to them for however much you want it to cost. It's a really cute and like popular way to get your members to fundraise, and so you're able to earn some money for your preferred charities. Lastly, you could consider something like a penny wars. For those who don't know how it works, there is like several jars that will correspond with a group of people. For example, if you were having like a class competition, there would be one jar for freshmen, sophomores, juniors, and seniors, and then coins would provide points to the groups, while dollars would drop or minus points. So to like sabotage other groups, someone might drop a $20 bill, but all in all, the money will be donated to whichever preferred charity. So it's a great way to have like a friendly competition in fundraising. This could be a club, inter-club, or school-wide event, whichever works for you. Just be sure to work with like your ASB or student council and then school administration and advisor to figure out what would work best for your club, and whatever works best for you as well. Always be sure with in-person fundraisings to follow and educate your members on any COVID-19 related protocol or guidelines, especially if it's some sort of in-person like fundraiser at a boba shop. Make sure that they know like if the boba shop requires masks, that they must come with a mask. It's your duty as treasurer to educate your members on these things and reach out to different organizations as you plan these events. So make sure you have a good sense of communication, and taking initiative is really the key to everything going on. Okay, so this is going to be like the end of our fundraising section. So I'm going to go over some clear tips of things we might have touched over before. First is to be proactive. This means setting goals for yourself for this term and then actively working towards them as best you can. An example of a good goal would be to aim for one fundraiser for every season, meaning you have like a minimum of 4 fundraisers throughout the entire year. Set this goal for yourself like right after this officer training conference and see how far you can get. Being proactive is really the only way you can get things done. So don't forget our steps to fundraising and being willing to communicate and execute these events throughout the entire term. Next is to know your budget and capabilities. Again, I can't stress this enough, but you should be always following your school protocol and rules. And every school is different, so we can't really give you guys specific rules a school may have, but you should be communicating with your school banker, your advisor, any activities director at your school, so you can build relationships with them and also gain new knowledge. Again, there's like a really common theme of communication, and understanding the rules of your school in relation to fundraising is also just really helpful in general, so you know what you can and can't do. Lastly, again, publicize and educate your members to the best of your ability. Try working with your school's ASB and student council again. Use announcements, flyers, email, social media, word of mouth, whatever it is. Aim to extend your reach so you can donate as much as you can. For education, just make sure they understand the purpose of your fundraisers. I don't think it's enough to just say, oh, we're having a fundraiser for PTP. There's a good chance that several members don't know what PTP is and maybe won't feel as inclined to participate in the fundraiser. So let them know who they are donating to, and at the same time, it'll spread the word for the cause. So I think it's doing a good deed. So this is, again, the end of our fundraising section. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, we can answer them now or even at the end of our presentation. But Taryn, please let me know.
If you guys typed questions earlier when we were talking, can you type them or like send them again? Because I got kicked out and I can't see them anymore. I know there was a couple. So if you could like copy and paste and send them again. I'm sorry.
If you want, I can read them out loud to you.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, so I don't know which ones were answered and which ones weren't. So starting from, okay, so Cami asked, the treasury is just a sheet to track all of the funds, right?
I think we answered up to the question about invoices.
Okay, invoices.
But we could also like repeat answers to questions
Okay.
if you guys want at the end.
Then after that, after the question about invoices, the first question was, how often would you update the MUC?
Oh yeah, we already answered that one too.
Is there a late fee clubs must pay if they pay their dues late?
We also answered that one.
Where did we read up to?
I don't remember.
I don't remember.
It's fine. Okay, so Mickey asked, what gets sent to the district and international?
In
Sorry?
regards to dues,
In regards to, like, I'm assuming invoices and paperwork.
That was answered already, Snow.
Miggy, do you know where we got up to?
Is there a time when you should stop fundraising, like the last month of the school year or anything?
I know it might be like tempting to maybe stop fundraising as it is the end of your term, but you can also you can be fundraising throughout the entire year. Key Club is year round. If you had an idea for a fundraiser like towards the end of your term, maybe you want to pass it on to your newly elected treasurer so that they can continue on, but also aid them with the process. So it would be a good way to train them at the same time. But there isn't really a time to stop fundraising. Towards the end of the year, most clubs have some sort of banquet or induction ceremony, which might even happen after decon or after you've like officially retired. So I don't think you should ever stop fundraising, but always know when to pass it on to your newly elected treasurer so that they are able to have their own fundraisers for their upcoming term as well.
And then I think the question on top of that wasn't answered either. My bad.
I'm sorry.
The question, can we repeat it? Where can you find examples of past years and how they paid for RTC, Fall Rally, and other events other than your own school?
Where can you find examples?
Kemi, could you clarify what you mean by that? Like examples of events or like paperwork that you're supposed to reference, I'm assuming? Oh, spreadsheets. So like where can you access your IP spreadsheets and that kind of stuff?
You should communicate with your retired treasurer to see if they have any spreadsheets for those sorts of things. But if not, you can most likely ask your president or advisor of how things have worked over the past years. I know some of you here might not have been in person. So you might not have access to a lot of things that were being used during an in-person school term, but there isn't a set like example sheet that I can provide to you because every school does do their own thing. But I would personally use a spreadsheet and just keep track of the member's name, what they're paying for, how much they paid, and then keep track before RTC, make sure that everyone who is paid is able to attend and stuff like that. But there is not really like a example sheet that I can provide to you guys. Sorry.
Okay, my school we had sorry.
No, you can go.
We just have like a treasurer like email. So like the Google Drive has like everything in there. That's what we had at least. All right. Sorry.
It's fine. Another question was for fundraisers like a school-wide penny drive, will all of the money be donated to charity or how much can be given to our club?
Again, this is something for you to decide for yourself. You could have like 80% of profit go to preferred charity and then have 20% for your club if you need it for different things within your budget. However, you have to make it very clear how much is going to where. You shouldn't be like covering up that all the money will be going to your club by saying it's for charity. If it is for a preferred charity like PTP, for example, just let everyone know 50% of the proceeds, 80%, however much that you decide will be going to your preferred charity and how much will be going to your club, so everyone is aware of what's going on.
Is that all the questions that were there? Okay. Does anyone else have any more questions?
Yeah, we can answer anything.
If you guys have any more, you can type them in the chat.
Then if not, we're gonna be moving on to our next section.
I think everyone is good. If you think of any, just type them and we'll get to them at the end of the next section. So now we have recognitions, awards, and scholarships. Our first part is club awards. So the first one is achieved increased membership, which is AIM. This recognizes clubs that had like a significant increase in dues paid members. So the criteria is to pay your dues before the suspended time, which is February 1st, 2022, and then meet one of the following. So it's either you have like 100% increase in membership and members, so you basically like double, and then you have 40 plus new members, or you have a 50% increase, or 20 plus new members. And then you have a 25% increase in 8 plus new members. So if you meet you have to meet the paying your dues, and then the second part, which is the percent increase and your new members. And then the next one is your member retention award. So this recognizes clubs that retained 100% membership from the previous term. So it's basically like you just had the same or more amount of members from the previous year. So if you had like 20 members last year and you have like 22 members the next year, then you would get that award. And then the criteria is that it's just that you pay your dues on time. So you pay it by December 1st, which is on-time deadline. Both of these awards are automatic, so you don't need to submit an application. So you basically just, if you hit one of the criterias, get all of the criterias that you need, you would just get the award. You don't have to like submit an e-portfolio or something that you would have to submit for the other awards. So just if you get the criteria, then you can get the award. Oh, all right. So next, we have the Treasurer Awards. So you can either be outstanding or distinguished. So these recognize club treasurers who went like above and beyond at fulfilling their responsibilities throughout the term. So there is 2 thresholds for points. To be considered, you must be dues paid members with a minimum of 50 service hours. So you just need to be like in good standing. You're not competing with the other treasurers, so you're just like trying to meet all the points on the rubric that the Key Club gives out to you. And then if you're selected, you will be recognized at Decon. So you can look at the cyber key to see the rubric. And this one isn't automatic, so you have to submit an e-portfolio. So make sure you if you want to try to be outstanding or distinguished, you try to get all your points like early. So I'd suggest like starting as early as you can to get all the points that you need, because like after some stuff is over, like you can't go back and like get those points. So like if you're like trying to make your e-portfolio in like January, it's going to be kind of hard. So make sure you start early.
Yeah, and again, you're not competing with any other treasurers. I think the member recognition chair for the CNH district said it like you're competing with the rubric, not any other treasurers. So don't be scared, always apply, and you should be aiming to apply for distinguished. Okay, so we're going to be moving on to some grants. There are 2 grants we're going to be going over. First of which is the Youth Opportunities Fund. This is a grant provided by Key Club International, and the grant was basically made to aid clubs in financing large-scale service projects, and this grant can actually range from $100 to $2,000. More information will be coming out in your term, so just be on the lookout for that and any deadlines that come up. My club was actually able to receive the grant last term. And one of the biggest tips or advice that I can provide to you guys if you are interested in this is to have a very clear plan of what you want to do and make sure that this is approved and known by your advisor and club board before you start your application. And also start your application as soon as it opens. And Key Club International is again in Eastern Standard Time, so any deadlines would be moved 3 hours earlier than whatever is stated. Next is the CNH Foundation PTP grant. It's really similar to the YOF, except it is provided by the Calnev Ha Children's Fund, and it was made to aid clubs in financing service projects in relation to pediatric trauma program, PTP, which Taryn went over earlier, and this grant is up to $500. Make sure you talk to your officer boards as soon as possible and see what plans you may have regarding service projects and look into these grants. And here's a quick way to like get some information. If you need anything, you can go to the cyber key, go to resources, club, treasurers, and grants and find out more information. But more information will be coming out as your term continues. Okay, so we're gonna get into some information about CNH scholarships to look out for. Be sure to always promote these to the seniors in your club. And the eligibility will range depending on how many scholarships are available. I know this year there were 2, but typically you have to be a member in good standing, meaning you are dues paid and are meeting the hour requirement. And these, again, typically come out around January or February. And you should take these as an opportunity to not only share these with your seniors and relay this information to them, but to educate them about CNH scholarships and the money being provided to them and the ability for them to get the scholarship. And again, like as the term progresses, all these applications and forms will be available on the CNH Cyber Key, which is what we refer to as the CNH website, or the information will probably be relayed by your respective lieutenant governor later in the term. So try to stay up to date and keep an eye out for any of these stuff. And this ends our recognition and awards and like scholarships section. So if there are any questions regarding this, we will take any questions or anything that we've already went over. We will take any questions now.
One comment I have is you can't win awards if you don't apply. You should all apply for Distinguished Treasurer. All of you. That's all I had to add.
Very true. All of
Guys,
you.
all can be. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go.
You guys can all be distinguished, so just apply.
Yeah, there can be an unlimited amount of distinguished treasurers, or if you don't make the distinguished criteria, outstanding is still amazing. So as soon your CNH district treasurer will probably be reminding you guys throughout the year to apply to this, and we'll show you guys and like walk you through any requirements needed. So always be sure to apply. We encourage all of you to apply. I hope to see you all at DCON as distinguished treasurers as well. If there are any more questions or comments or concerns, we can take them now as well.
Someone said, does the achieved increased membership have different levels?
Who? Sorry.
Someone said, does the AIM award have different levels? I don't think so. I'm unsure.
I think it does.
It does?
So there are different
Think.
criteria you can meet. I think this is meant to be kind to clubs that have a smaller club size. So if you only meet the 25% increase in A+ members, you do get the award. You don't need to meet all of these. Just one of the following requirements is good enough.
Someone says, how do you apply? Do you mean like for like
The distinguished award?
outstanding? Yeah. Is that what you mean? Yeah, okay. How do you apply? I think you just make your portfolio and then submit them.
So,
She's got the how to get to the stuff. You can go look at all of last year's requirements on the CNH Cyber Key with her links right there, the recognition contest officer treasurer. And the application doesn't change very much from year to year. So you can already start getting that stuff already from day whatever we're on. I was going to say day 1, but we're really on like day 12 or something like that.
Yeah, the e-portfolio is usually made on like Google Slides. There's some sort of PowerPoint presentation. You're going to have like to follow graphic standards, and there's going to be like a lot of information you need to know. But just for now, you can check out the CNH Cyber Key if you have any, if you're just like already interested and want to get a look out. But I remember the retired CNH treasurer, Yenna, she had a Google form she provided that would basically grade how you've been doing to see if you would meet the outstanding or distinguished requirements. So just always like be aware of the requirements. It'll really enhance your duties as treasurer. So just always keep it in mind and visit it often. Maybe like keep it in your bookmarks on your treasurer account.
And does AIM and member attention are done automatically through the MUC?
No, the MUC is only for in relation to dues. It's called an automatic award because you don't need to submit an application. They will see if you had a club like increase in membership and how many new members you've had. So that will be like checked out for you. That's what it means by automatic. But you don't like see it on the MUC or anything like that. That's just for dues.
But they do pull it from there because they can also see it.
You just don't do anything like on there for it, if that makes sense. You don't need to like.
You don't have to like show them or anything.
Yeah.
So everyone can get awards. So we encourage everyone to apply to be distinguished and try your best to get the other club awards. All right, any other questions? Give everyone a couple seconds. Everyone good?
Okay, so this is basically like the end of our presentation. So we're just gonna provide some like reminders of everything we kind of went over, and we're also gonna like give some advice or like words of encouragement. So just to reiterate like what we've said today, which has been a lot, so I'm thankful for all of you guys sticking through. As a treasurer, you should be focused on getting your club's dues in while aiming to earn either early bird or on time deadlines. Also, always be actively planning and executing fundraisers throughout your term. Next is to always keep track of club expenses, as we went over the treasury earlier. Next is to always communicate. You're going to be communicating a lot, especially if we're in like in person next year or next school year. You're going to be working with your school's ASB, your student council, any like respective administration, and your advisor and club board. Lastly, make sure to have fun and like really enjoy your position. Have faith in your abilities and always recognize your hard work throughout the term. Any successes, big or small, are successes at the end. So celebrate what you have done throughout the term, and especially at the end of the term, which is in a while for you guys, but remember that you did a really great job. You were trusted in this position and you were elected. So there are a lot of people who also do have faith like in your abilities, and they're always here to support you. Take this as like an opportunity to not just have an officer and like leadership position, but also learn more about Key Club as a whole and like experience your enhance your experience in the club. We know like it sounds like a lot, and you guys are going to be very hardworking this term and working very hard, but it is a really rewarding experience and really amazing. So we hope you guys always feel like happy and satisfied with your work throughout the term. And if like Taryn would like to say some words as well.
Yeah, like congratulations you guys on getting elected. That's really good. Yeah, just don't be scared. You'll be fine. You'll do great. You'll do great.
You have a lot of support, don't worry. And then like as a last reminder, we have some additional resources just in case you guys like want to get a head start, which you should be doing in case you need more information. Here's the Key Club International website. You can reference a lot of stuff on there. CNH CyberKey, aka the CNH website. It has a lot of great resources. Personally, I referred to it back in my term very often, and I kept any manuals relating to the position of treasurer. There was the treasurer's manual, dues manual, and then fundraising manual. I just kept it on like my bookmarks tab just in case I ever needed it. And also, don't feel scared and never forget to reach out to your club advisor, your club officer board, your respective LTG, and the CNH district treasurer once these communication lines open up. Never hesitate to reach out to help, even if you might be a little bit scared. I know it's nerve-wracking, but your job does require a lot of communication, and everyone wants what's best for you, and they will help you to the best of their abilities. So now we will be taking like any additional questions, comments, concerns about anything that went on today. We have like around 30 minutes, I believe. So if you guys have anything you'd like answered right now, we can do it now. We went over a lot of stuff again, but we could provide any advice, answer any questions and everything like that.
And then if you want, we can go back to slides if you need, so you can like take down some notes if you want.
Is it okay if I note something about fundraising? I put this in the chat, but I just want to make sure because I saw it disappear for some people. Can you go back to the fundraising slide?
Oh yeah, sure.
The local part. Thanks.
The
Yeah,
idea.
that's. I guess that should be worded. Okay, that's good. If you're doing anything locally, or you're able to do anything locally, whether that's like Chipotle, I know a lot of people have done Panda Express, Krispy Kreme, and also just any organization. Make sure you're in contact with whoever, whether it's the manager, administration, early, and get that approved pretty early. And also for location, that's really important. So that way, anybody who can attend can actually go. You don't want it to be super far away from your club. So just make sure that you pick a spot that's pretty available for everyone who can go.
And I'm going to add one more thing. Oh, yeah. Sometimes businesses have a little bit of a problem dealing with kids. Okay. Not that you're kids, and we know that you should be trusted, but they may want to talk to an adult. So make sure that you also have your advisor's contact info so that if they want to talk to an adult, they can talk to your advisor, because that might help the process along with getting the fundraiser going.
Thank you. Would we need an ERF if we partner? Oh wait, would we need an ERF if we partner with a restaurant? Or no? No.
No. ERFs are used when you do socials and things like that with other key clubs or other Kiwanis family groups. If the restaurant is doing, for example, the IHOP pancake thing, and 3 different key clubs show up at IHOP, that's not ERF because IHOP is the one hosting that particular event. But if it's a key club hosting a particular event, that's when the ERF comes into play. So if you're doing a fundraiser and you're inviting the whole division, now an ERF is required. Does that make sense?
You might have school forms you need to fill out, but yeah, the ERF is not.
You will definitely have school forms to fill
Yeah.
out.
And you would work that out with your advisor and president to make sure they are approved before your fundraiser. So always plan ahead and always give enough time for these things to happen.
So you send your stuff in early. Anyone else have any questions or concerns? You can go back to any slides if you need to. All right. Yeah, which one? We can go back, yeah. Which one? In the beginning? So we didn't like go back to the very beginning?
Like the
first slide, second slide?
this slide? This is like our first main slide.
This one? Okay. Does anyone need anything else? We can go back to any other ones.
Miss Santee, are they going to be able to like have the presentation after OTC?
We will post this recording. It'll happen after all the OTCs are done.
Okay.
Are you guys all done with your questions and stuff? Because I can turn off the recording.
Yeah, if you guys are done, we just have like our contact page. And that's about it.
Okay, let me go ahead and stop recording.